Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. And although transfer talk's been dead quiet today, eerily quiet, almost like the calm before a proper storm, there's still plenty kicking about that we need to unpack. We're knowing full transfer chaos mode just yet, but keep your eyes peeled, because if experience has taught us anything, it's that this kind of silence usually means something big's brewing just under the surface, hopefully. Or maybe that's just me being blindly optimistic again. Now, while we wait for the madness to kick off, let's dive into something that could actually have some serious implications for the European stage. I'm talking about the Champions League, or more specifically, some brand new rule changes that are set to shake things up from next season onwards. The news first broke in Germany, and if you follow the scene close enough, you'll ken that when something leaks out over there, it usually holds some weight. So here's the gist of it. After just one season of the new expanded Champions League format, UEFA's already gearing up to tweak the thing. We'd only just gotten used to this new 36 club system, and bang, they're changing it again. No full reset, mind you, but some key adjustments are coming, especially in the knockout rounds. The big one, teams that finish in the top 8 of the league phase, that's the new version of the old group stage, will now get a more meaningful reward for their efforts. From now on, they'll not only qualify directly to the round of 16, but they'll also get the advantage of playing the second leg at home. And not just in the round of 16, but all the way through the quarterfinals and semifinals as well. Now, for clubs like Real Madrid, Manchester City, or Bayern, that's a proper game changer. Those second legs at home, massive advantage. It gives you the chance to respond to control the tempo in front of your own fans and potentially see out a result in more comfortable surroundings. Previously, this kind of perk only applied to the round of 16, but now the advantage stretches further. And this all comes after some serious complaints last season from clubs who felt they were wrong by the way ties were drawn. Take Arsenal, for example. They finished third in the league phase, right 8 spots above Real Madrid, but still ended up having to play the second leg away in Madrid. Doesn't seem fair, does it? They got through, but still, the odds were against them, and they knew it. Barcelona were in a similar situation, finishing ahead of Inter, but still heading away to Milan for the second leg. That one ended badly for them, and you can bet they made their thoughts known to UEFA. Now, let's bring it back to our side of the fence. For a club like Celtic, this isn't necessarily something that's going to shake up next season directly, unless we somehow find ourselves in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, which, let's be honest, would be nothing short of a miracle. But here's where things get interesting. If this change is being made in the Champions League, you'd have to imagine it's only a matter of time before similar adjustments filter down into the Europa League as well. Celtic could very well be in the Europa League next season, depending on how the qualifiers pan out. So if UEFA's looking at competitive fairness across all their tournaments, this could touch us sooner rather than later. And even if it doesn't affect us immediately, it's good to know that these kinds of systemic changes are happening. For years, fans and clubs alike have complained about the inconsistencies and the way draws seem to favor certain teams. Now, at least there's a wee bit more structure and logic coming in. You finish higher in the standings, you get rewarded. Simple as that. It's how it should be, but it doesn't stop there. If you dig deeper into the reports coming out of Germany, you'll find that UEFA's been tossing around a few more ideas behind the scenes, some that could really change the way we experience knockout football in Europe. One of the most eye-catching proposals doing away with extra time altogether in favor of going straight to penalty shootouts after 90 minutes. Now, I know that sounds a bit radical at first. Extra time's been part of the game forever, right? But think about it. How many times have we seen two top sides dragging themselves through that extra 30 minutes, both too knackered to make any real impact? This KG is slow, and it often ends up being a waste of everyone's time before we get the inevitable spot kicks anyway. And from a Celtic perspective, let's be brutally honest, extra time has never really been our friend. Picture that game against Bayern Munich, again the one we all remember, with a mix of pride and pain. Let's say just for a second that Alphonso Davies doesn't bag that last second goal. Let's say it ends level after 90 minutes. Are we really saying Celtic would have lasted another half hour against Bayern? Not a chance. We'd have been run into the ground. But if you remove that extra time and go straight to pens, suddenly it's a level playing field. Suddenly we've got a fighting chance. That's what makes the idea so appealing. Penalty shootouts are a bit of a lottery eye, but at least it gives both sides an equal shot. For clubs like ours who might not have the depth or the resources of Europe's giants, it's a lifeline. It's a chance to go toe-to-toe without being stretched to the absolute limit. And let's face it, for the neutrals, it's entertainment. Nothing gets the blood pumping quite like a sudden death shootout under the lights. UEFA hasn't made any firm decisions yet on that front, but the conversation is definitely happening. And just like the home leg tweaks, is something we'll need to keep an eye on. Changes like this could completely alter how knockout rounds are approached, especially by clubs who are used to grinding out results rather than blitzing teams over 2 legs. But, alright, shifting gears for a moment. Celtic have also officially confirmed part of their preseason plans for next month, and it's something a bit different. We're off to Italy to Lake Como to take part in a wee tournament called the Como Cup. This one runs between the 23rd and 27th of July and features a pretty fun mix of teams. We're set to go up against Ajax Como FC, the hosts, Eno and Al Ahly from Saudi Arabia. It's the kind of preseason setup that gives us a few good tests without the intense pressure of competitive fixtures. A bit of sunshine, a bit of football, and hopefully another trophy to add to the cabinet. And if you're someone who's got a few holidays saved up and fancies a wee trip to Italy, it's probably the perfect excuse. Nothing's been officially confirmed in terms of the match schedule yet, but you can bet it'll follow the usual 4-team format. 2 semis, then a final. Should be a decent watch over the summer and a good chance to see where the squad's at before the real stuff kicks off. Last season's preseason tour of America gave us some proper insight into how the team was shaping up. We took on Manchester City, Chelsea, and DC United, and the level of performance was actually really encouraging. You could feel the intensity, even in those friendly matches. So if this Como Cup gives us something similar, then we're in for a treat. Plus, it's always nice to lift a wee bit of silverware, even if it's not the most prestigious prize in the world. Right, let's pick things up where we left off. And this time, we're diving straight into the curious case of Luis Palma. Now, this one's no massive shock to anyone who's been paying attention, but it's starting to sound more and more like his days in Glasgow could be numbered. Technically he's set to return for pre-season, but don't expect him to hang about long. Reports coming out of Honduras, his homeland, are already suggesting both Palma and Celtic are working quietly behind the scenes to engineer a move this summer. The reason? Game time, pure and simple. Palma wants minutes, and not just for the sake of match sharpness, but because there's a bigger picture at play. The World Cup qualifiers for Honduras are on the horizon, and he wants to be front and center for his national team. Sitting on the bench or stuck in a rotation system in Scotland won't cut it. He needs to be playing regular football, and he needs a club that can offer him that kind of platform week in, week out. Now, the way things are shaping up, this could take a couple of different forms. It might be another loan move, which would buy Celtic sometime and allow Palma to keep developing without completely severing ties. But there's also talk of a permanent deal being considered. If the right offer comes in, and if both parties agree, it's the right time to part ways. From the players' camp, that seems to be the preferred option, especially if it means a more central role elsewhere. What's interesting is that the noise isn't just coming from Honduras. Greek media have been all over this too, claiming that 3 top-flight clubs in Greece are keen on snapping him up. That would make sense considering Palma already has a bit of a following there, and some have even gone as far as calling him the Prince of Greek Football. It's a bold nickname, but the lad did leave an impression. For Celtic, if they can recoup a decent fee, and more importantly clear space, for someone more consistent, then it's probably the best outcome all round. Let's be honest, Palma had flashes of brilliance, sure, but he never really nailed down a spot as a guaranteed starter. There were moments where he looked like he could offer something different. Moments where you thought, right, this could be a player we build around, but then it all just kind of faded away. Consistency's everything at this level, and if you can't deliver that, then you're always going to be the first name under the microscope when the window opens. So while it's no confirmed and there's no official announcement yet, it feels like we're heading toward an inevitable split. Luis Palma wants more responsibility, more minutes, and more of a starring role, and Celtic, from the looks of it, are more than willing to let that happen if the circumstances are right. Now, moving on, let's wrap things up with a wee bit of transfer business. This time on the outgoing side and in the goalkeeping department. Scott Bain, who was recently released by Celtic after a long stint as our number 2, sometimes number 3, has found himself a new home, and fair play to him because he's gone back to where it all began, Falkirk. That's right, the Bands have officially resigned Bain on a one-year deal, bringing the goalkeeper back to familiar territory. The headlines in the local papers were pure gold. Scott Bain is a Bairn again. Aye, cheesy, but in a good way. And for the player himself, it's a chance to hit the reset button. He's 32 now, still has plenty of years left in him, and at Falkirk, he'll get the one thing he was never going to get at Celtic: regular football. It's always a strange one when a player like Bain leaves. He was never the first name on the team sheet, but he was a steady presence in the dressing room. Reliable, professional, and never caused any drama. You need lads like that in a squad, especially when you're fighting on multiple fronts. But eventually the need for minutes takes over, and if you're not getting them, you've got to move on. Fair play to Scott for taking that step. And so there we have it, our first proper exit of the summer window. It might not be the most headline-grabbing departure, but it does mark the start of what's likely to be a summer of significant change. Players will come and go, some expected, some not, but that's the nature of the beast. You win trophies, you build momentum, and suddenly the standards rise. If you don't meet those standards, there's no room for sentiment. It's on to the next. As for the rest of the summer, well, buckle up. Between potential incomings, more exits, preseason fixtures in Italy, and the slow drip of European rule, changes that could eventually tilt the balance in our favor, there's no shortage of storylines brewing in the background. It might be quiet now, but give it a week or two, and I reckon we'll be knee-deep in the chaos we all secretly love. But for now, keep your eyes peeled for updates, and if you're thinking about a wee trip to Como in July, maybe now's the time to start looking at flights. Celtic, Ajax, Al Ahly, and the hosts, it's shaping up to be a pre-season with a bit of spice and maybe even a bit of silverware at the end of it. And I keep one eye on Palmer's situation too, because that could develop quickly. Whether he ends up back in Greece or somewhere else entirely, it feels like his Celtic chapter is coming to a close. Not every signing works out, and that's fine. Now, the important part is knowing when to let go. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. The transfer rumor mill is in full swing once again, and the latest whispers making the rounds could prove to be one of the shrewdest bits of business of the summer. Reports emerging from the continent suggest that Ayoub El KACHATI, the highly rated Dutch-Moroccan striker, has confirmed his departure from his current club and is allegedly poised to make a sensational move to Celtic, and on a free transfer no less. Sources close to the player indicate that El KACHATI, known for his lethal finishing and clever movement in the final third, has set his sights firmly on Glasgow as the next destination in his burgeoning career. The 22-year-old who had a prolific spell in the Dutch lower leagues is understood to have attracted interest from a host of European clubs. Yet it's Celtic who reportedly have won the race for his signature. While there's been no official statement from Parkhead, those familiar with the inner workings of the club suggest that negotiations have been quietly ongoing for several weeks. With Brendan Rodgers keen to bolster his attacking options ahead of a demanding campaign, both domestically and in Europe, the addition of El KACHATI on a free could represent a low-risk, high-reward acquisition. Observers who have tracked El KACHATI's rise describe him as a forward with an instinctive eye for goal, sharp positional awareness, and a cool head in one-on-one situations. His recent decision to move on from his previous side has only added fuel to the speculation that he's Celtic bound. The Hoops faithful will undoubtedly be keeping a close eye on any developments in the coming days, especially given the club's tradition of uncovering hidden gems from less heralded leagues. El KACHATI could well be the latest in a long line of such success stories, but as ever in football, nothing is certain until the ink is dry. For now, it remains a tantalizing possibility, a free and lethal striker, potentially swapping the whole Dutch pitches for the roar of paradise. Time will tell if this rumor becomes reality. Hello fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.